Hello, hello everyone. Welcome back to some more CCA Season 5. We're in playoffs, so we're getting to some of the most highly anticipated matches of the season, and let me tell you, that is no different with this one coming up right now. We got CSULB Black out of the California State University of Long Beach going up against UNM Esports out of the University of New Mexico. Both of these teams have fought long and hard to be here, and now is their chance to really show the world what they're made of. And of course, I'm not alone in this endeavor. I'm joined here by the lovely DRF. DRF, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic and excited to watch and commentate some more Season 5 playoff action. It has been fantastic so far. We've saw the first two sets. This is the third of a quadruple header here on the Twitch channel. We had two other matches over on the YouTube channel. So it's just been crazy. All weekend long, and we're basically at about the halfway point of today and the weekend. So I don't know, it's been so much fun already, Nikki.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was playing one of those earlier matches on the stream, and
Yes.
Playoffs are really when everything comes to a head, you know? Like, the stakes are super high, everyone's really hyped up, everything's just amazingly intense and wonderful. Like, it's a lot of fun, not only the play-in, but the cast. And like, before we waste any more time, like, the competitors, the players, they're hopping right into this first game on Undertow Rainmaker, a map mode that was just recently changed in the most recent patch. So I'm eager to see how these teams potentially adapt to the changes. Let's see what kinds of things they're pulling out. I see a Neo machine already on the side of Long Beach, a weapon that's kind of, like, you see it fairly often, but it's definitely not a staple of the meta. Pretty standard looking stuff on the side of UNM, aside from the Octobrush. Let's see how these teams open. I'm excited to see what goes down.
Yeah, definitely some mostly standard comps, you know, with a couple of, you know, tweaks here and there, like you said, with that Octobrush, Squeezer Blaster combination, you know. So it's I think this will be really interesting to follow UNM with the slightly more unconventional composition here between these two teams. As early on, we will be seeing a couple of players, one on each side, that get out of position, two separate 1v3s that result in the current status of UNM getting the first control of the Rainmaker. And now, with a bit of a stagger here as well, this is going to be, oh, it's the machine that actually is going to get the trade there, slowing down the Rainmaker. UNM really trying to make this right checkpoint happen.
Yeah, I mean, UNM, like, they have an early advantage here, and they're playing it very well. Ardor with the squeeze up in top right. They just abandoned that position, and rightfully so. They were getting pushed out by the shot there, but they won a wonderful position, having high ground over the first checkpoint, getting so much value out of their Zuka. They're going to get the first check, forced to fall back as Long Beach starts the rally with a push of their own. And with Cooler online as well, this is going to be a big opportunity. Like, all four of them got it all at the same time there. That was a beautiful placement on the part of the Zap. They're going to have a lot of momentum here as they try to move their way back in the mid and get a push going of their own.
Certainly, as now it's going to be Long Beach Black trying to hold control of mid here. They do get the pick off the brush, and this is going to be a prime opportunity for them to start moving up. Three go down, massive for Long Beach, as they are now pushing all the way to checkpoint. The Zap going to run it down, not going to be able to get the pick. This should be checkpoint clearance for Long Beach Black, and it is essentially a tied game.
Yeah, Long Beach is in a fantastic position. A bold flank from the Octobrush. That could have been dangerous. Fantastic play on the part of Long Beach to catch that flank early and take him out. They're rushing into the final checkpoint, getting a lot of big points, taking the score all the way down to 13. And Long Beach is still 3 up. One of them's going to go down, but they have so much momentum right here. Zuka online as well. They're popping it, getting so much value out of it. They have so much momentum right now. UNM is scrambling right now, doing anything they can to stop this push, and it's just not enough. Long Beach, with an absolutely explosive push, is going to run it down for the knockout, taking game one decisively.
Yeah, I mean, the beginning of the game, though, was just so back and forth. It seemed like UNM was getting the upper hand, but Long Beach did a fantastic job of making sure that they hit the brakes and to just slow down that push. They got a couple of clutch picks there to prevent the whole push from spiraling out of control and limited New Mexico to just the checkpoint before flipping it entirely on its head and just commanding the rest of that game all the way to a knockout.
I want to note, I thought it was really smart of Long Beach to specifically push up the left route instead of going right like New Mexico did. That left route was probably the part of the map that got changed the most in the recent map rework. That uninkable slink was widened out and actually made inkable, which makes pushing through it just so much easier and a lot faster. And Long Beach really took advantage of that because they got the Rainmaker up to that choke point and just ran it straight through, guns blazing, never stopping for anything. And by the time Rainmaker finally was stopped, it was too little too late for UNM to really do anything. They were scrambling, and Long Beach just kept that momentum going until they got it all the way down to the knockout. So, like, in terms of, like, which teams are looking to, like, adapt the best, like, the changes to this map mode, like, Long Beach, they've convinced me they know how to, like, use those changes to their advantage.
Absolutely, as we do see a couple of substitutions here. We'll go ahead and bring up the keys to victory slide for you all. And the first thing that I notice here that goes hand in hand with the substitutions is just how deep New Mexico's roster is. I mean, both of these teams have extensive rosters, but New Mexico said, we have 8 slots, we're gonna use 8 slots, gosh darn it. So here we are, they're ready to play some 4D chess with of different options that they could possibly play with here. Long Beach Black, I'm sure, having a couple of their players on the back burner as well, ready to make something happen if they need to bring somebody in. So this is gonna probably be one of the focal points here, Nikki, where we will have every single game somebody's going to be moving in and out because there are 14 people ready to play and only 8 can do so at a time.
Well, likely, I mean, not likely, but I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we never see the same combination of 8 players playing in any 2 games, right? Like, both of these teams opting for the big balloon-esque rosters, and there's definitely pros and cons to having larger rosters, right? More players means more options, you can always keep your opponent guessing, but it is true that with more players on a roster, it's harder to build synergy between everyone, because obviously you can't have everyone in at the same time. So, like, you know, pros and cons to bigger rosters, and I'm judging by the fact that both of these teams have made the cut for playoffs, I think it's safe to say that they definitely know how to juggle their larger rosters. And we're going to see some of that as we get these players substituted in and out, as you were saying. So, excited to see what these new players can bring to each of these teams.
Absolutely. So let's see what these adjustments do bring as we do look towards the next map mode, which will be Clam Blitz on Museum de Alfonsino. So this is going to be, as fast as that first game was, this second game, the pace is going to slow a lot more. So this will allow for both of these teams to get a little bit more footing, you know, should it go the way that Clam Blitz Museum games usually do.
I mean, it's worth noting that Clam Blitz as a mode, again, if we're talking about balance changes from the most recent patch, Clam Blitz did see a fairly significant change with the popular crack and cheese strategy just recently being effectively patched out of the game. It's still doable, significantly harder than it used to be. But, you know, that was a pretty big adjustment that a lot of teams had to kind of get used to, because for a while, there were a lot of teams that kind of, like, relied on Kraken as a crutch to play well in Clam Blitz. But if it being effectively patched out of the game, they kind of have to fall back on fundamentals and going back to basics in terms of, like, how to push towards the basket. Like, you have to play this mode a lot more honestly, and some teams have definitely had a harder time adjusting to that than others. So, who knows? Like, I'm not saying that might not apply to either of these two teams. Depends on the weapons they feel like pulling out before the patch and after the patch. But regardless, I'm excited to see how these teams do in a more team-oriented mode like Clam Blitz. I mean, it's the slowest mode, as you were saying. It's definitely the mode where coordination is at its most vital. And in these higher level settings in playoffs, when the stakes matter, you want to see a lot of coordination, communication between the players. So, without further ado, here we are jumping into the game, seeing some fairly significant roster changes. A Flingzavola coming out on the side of Long Beach, and a Inkbrush Nouveau on the side of UNM. That is a weapon you hardly see anymore in comp. Usually it's the more common vanilla Inkbrush. Very eager to see what kinds of things they pull out of that, or pull off of that, excuse me.
Yeah, that's honestly my reaction as well. Those were the two that immediately stuck out to me. So very unconventional singular weapon choices here. So this should be a lot of fun to see what these two weapons cook up. As early on we do see UNM being the aggressors, trying to push up into plat, but I think we have already discovered why that Flingza is coming out here. Those missiles beautifully pushing UNM completely back to their plat here. And it is already working like a charm. The Flingza will get the trade, and this will just kind of be a stall fest once again in mid. But hey, Long Beach Black already had a great defensive stop there.
Yeah, I mean, from what I could tell just by looking at the comps, Long Beach seems to be opting for a far more defensive comp. They're not only having the dedicated backline and the ballpoint, but by having that passive support midline role from the Flingza, compared to the hyper-aggressive comp that UNM's running, having no backline. The longest range option they have is their Squeezer, which is still a very aggressive midline, right? So it could be that UNM is trying to match the aggression they saw Long Beach pull on that previous game to try to keep up with them. Some would say the best offense is a good, or the best defense is a good offense, but Long Beach has proven that even if they're slower comp, they could still find the picks of momentum they need. They made it onto the plat, got the picks they needed. They broke the basket, getting a fairly significant follow-up as well, taking their score all the way down to 59. The Flings is being crazy aggressive, trying to move up on this player up on the top right position, but unfortunately gonna get picked off. It looks like this push is gonna die off for Long Beach, but still, 41 points. Excuse me. Yeah, 41 points. I can count, trust me. That's nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah, but look at UNM with 3 specials online here, plus the Zuka that was already activated, and this could be a very quick flip. Defense into offense, as they just need to survive this killer whale. They do lose one member of their party here, but they are in a fantastic position to open up this basket. The bubble is out, but taking a little while to score, finally gonna get it in, and this push is on as UNM looking for some sort of follow-up, but not gonna be able to get any. So this will be a one and done push for New Mexico, but both teams have at least something on the board now, and this is starting to look like a pretty competitive game as we pass the halfway point in this match.
Yeah, that was a really smart inkjet on the play of the ballpoint here. Took total control of the plat and forced everyone on UNM. Even though they had a lot of claims to follow up with, that inkjet was just so intimidating that UNM had no choice but to fall back or risk getting murdered by the inkjet. So, good defensive special on the part of the ballpoint. Looks like both teams are falling back into neutral. UNM is already trying to get another push going, actually. The Squeezer's making a beeline for the basket. Gonna get picked off, unfortunately. But more follow-up. The hammer coming in. Long Beach's defense is impeccable. They're gonna find all 4 for the wipeout. That's gonna give them complete control. Total freedom to move in and take total control over mid.
I'm impressed. That was a very good defensive stop there, where they had 2 power clams plus the hammer running it down, and they shut down both of them to prevent any score and a possible lead flip there as well. If they had gotten both of them in, that certainly would have been a lead change. So now, as we are a minute and 20 left in this game, 2 down on either side, both teams looking to get at least one more push off to try to either extend the lead or try to get the lead, but they keep just going pick for pick, no one getting the upper hand, and Long Beach, they'll take it, but it's still an uncomfortable position to be in.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I use this metaphor a lot, but right now the ball very much is in UNM's court. Like, they're the ones lacking the lead. Long Beach, not satisfied with their lead, though, as you're saying. They're going for another push. They're going to get the ball in. Not going to score any points unless they get a bit of a follow-up. They're going to get some. The NZEP smartly jumping in with a lot of clams. Going to miss their last one, unfortunately, but still, I think that was 5 whole clams they got, and yeah, 15 points. That's nothing to sneeze at. Like, that lead they have over UNM is just slightly more comfortable, and now UNM is really nervous. Like, they need to get not only break up in the basket, but they're gonna need a fairly significant follow-up in order to turn this game around. And with only 25 seconds left on the clock, they're gonna need to make something happen sooner rather than later. But if multiple specials online, this could be their chance, especially as Long Beach goes 2 down.
Yeah, and they do have the slight numbers disadvantage now, though, but they are on plat. This is a good spot for them to be in, but no! Gonna find one pick, not able to clean up the next, and they find themselves 3 down. It's just Yellow trying to hold this push together with some duct tape, and it's just not in their favor right now, but they do find 2 picks. They do have another power clam, 2 power clams actually, about 10 seconds to go, maybe less. They need to get to the basket. They need to start that animation. They are gonna get the basket. They will get it open. They get a bunch of clams in, but it's not enough. They get wiped out, 14 points shy. Oh, a valiant effort by New Mexico, but once again, a Long Beach defensive stop coming in clutch.
Yeah, that's really where, as I said earlier in the game, Long Beach's more defensive comp really came into play. That flings on the ballpoint made it so difficult for UNM to really approach the basket because the vast majority of their weapons were just too easily zoned out. Even if they weren't, the specials like missiles and inkjet just took complete control over the location. I mean, hey, the defensive players got a fist bump. You could tell they were putting in work for their team on the defense. And because Long Beach had that lead from the beginning of the game, they were able to play more defensively. Like, they had the room to do so. So, I mean, like, as you said, like, I totally agree. In fact, you took the words right out of my mouth. It was a valiant effort by New Mexico in the 11th hour to try to get something going. They got the basket open. They got a little bit of a follow-up, but it just wasn't quite enough, which does mean that second push Long Beach got with, I believe it was the Flingser who made a beeline to the basket, and then when the Zap jumped in and scored an extra 15 points, that second push did end up deciding the game, because if that didn't happen, New Mexico takes the lead there, but Long Beach, they thought ahead. They realized our lead isn't quite comfortable enough for us. Let's go for another push. They did. They extended their lead, and then that extension was what they needed to just hold on to that lead for the remainder of the game.
Certainly. You know, it's very back and forth there, but Long Beach was always one step ahead. So if I am New Mexico coming into the next game, as I think both of these teams are trying to figure out substitutions again. That's going to kind of be a key thing here for both rosters, being as deep as they are. But if I am New Mexico, the thing that I'm looking at going into next game is how do we increase the pace of play? Because right now Long Beach is playing a very defensive game. You know, they're okay with it being just a little bit slower right now. If I'm New Mexico, you need to find a way to hit that gas pedal and take the fight to Long Beach, or you know, maybe even just, you know, maybe if you want to also just take the complete opposite approach, slow it down and force Long Beach to come to you a little bit more, like that could possibly work as well. So but you have to commit yourself one way or another here, because Long Beach's defense has just been phenomenal in these first couple games. I mean, the first game we saw them just run that Rainmaker, you know, got some great defensive stops, converted it to a fantastic offense, and then a fantastic defensive stop after defensive stop. So New Mexico just needs to change the pace. That's the thing. Change the pace of play. Whether you want to try to slow it down even further and make Long Beach play to you, or speed it up like hell.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, like, right now, UNM, they're down 0-2 in playoffs. The stakes are high, right? Like, if they lose this, they're out of the season, effectively. So by now, they definitely need to make some changes, I think. And I think a change in pace, as you're saying, is exactly what they need. Either speed it up, be more aggressive so they can plow through that more defensive comp, or slow things down, let them come to you, and then get those picks. Especially because, like, I feel like in that Clan Blitz game, almost every advantage Long Beach had was a reversal, where UNM, they had an early advantage. They pushed up, they were maybe a little bit too fast, or like like some awkward middle ground between being too fast but not fast enough. They get picked off, and all of a sudden, that advantage they had gets turned into a disadvantage, and that gives Long Beach the room they need to move up. Like, Long Beach is playing the let's just wait for them to come to us game exceedingly well, and that's kind of catching them off guard.
Yeah, and not too many teams really play like that. So it's really interesting to see at this stage. I don't know if that was the necessarily the game plan that they came into this with, but it's working for them. So it's going to be something that I know I will continue to keep an eye out for on this match, especially going into Game 3 with Splat Zone's Robo Ramen, where you can get a bit lockout heavy. So it's both teams are going to have to see an adjustment regardless, because Robo Ramen Splat Zones is very, very different than what Museum Clan Blitz has to offer. So both these teams need to make some adjustments here. I did really like that Flingsa pick. I think that it worked out beautifully for Long Beach. So if they end up sticking with that, I would not be surprised, because it worked very well. They got us a chance to see how UNM responds to something like missiles, a lesser used special in Splatoon 3. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple of changes to trip strikes as well, because that's so crucial of a special for Splat Zones, let alone Robo Ramen.
Yeah, I think entry tools are really the name of the game on Robo Splat Zones. It's not the most lockout heavy map mode in the game, but it is a pretty scary map mode to be locked out on, because there's effectively only two ways to approach the zone. There's the main approach going up into that elbow area, street, whatever you want to call it, ramp, I don't know. People have different names to call it, right? You have that main approach that most people favor, because the other one is dropping into the pit on your left. And in a shooter, right, you almost never want to put yourself in a low, like you never want to put yourself in the low ground. Like you want to have that height advantage over people. So dropping into the pit is not ideal. So when you consider from that point of view, there's really only one way to approach the zone, which is up that ramp straight ahead of spawn into the elbow position. And if the team that has advantage secures that position and they're locking it down really well, it could feel almost impossible to break back into the zone. So retake specials, whether that be Zuka, strikes, missiles, inkjet, Inkvac if you're feeling particularly spicy. I do think this is a fantastic map for Inkvac while I'm ranting. Like retake specials are really the name of the game here, because otherwise lockouts are not only like possible on this map mode, but they're exceedingly probable, I find.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's a great analysis here, and I'm curious to see, because now that we are in this ready up menu here, Poke Joe getting the call off of the bench to jump in for New Mexico. Curious to see a little bit more about them, to see what they're going to bring to the table now, as some fresh hands, fresh eyes to this set in Game 3. Long Beach Black up 2-0. Let's jump on in to some Splat Zones on Robo Ramen and Nikki. Take a look at these compositions.
Certainly. So we got a few changes on the side of Long Beach. The pencil coming out, of course, not unexpected. It's the best weapon in the game, arguably, so very commonly seen. The Orange Zap is the far more interesting pick on the side of Long Beach. It's a weapon you don't see terribly often, Super Chumps being one of the more undervalued specials. But still, I mean, like, it has its merit here. It has an insane amount of pain output between the main weapon and its special. And on the side of UNM, actually, a lot more crazy picks. The Nautilus coming out for the first time, the Blob Lobber, which is a weapon you almost never see, but again, it's not without merit. It has a lot of pain output between the main weapon, the sub, and the special rain. And then perhaps the biggest wildcard of all, the Foil Squeezer with Splatter Color Screen, a special that half the time you're not even allowed to play anymore. You know, both of these teams are opt-in, so like we're not gonna call them out for that, but still, like, it's a special you don't get to see terribly often. So I'm really interested to see what UNM is planning to do with a special that they sometimes are just flat out practice.
Yeah, you're right. Oh, a beautiful Zuka double there to really enable UNM to initiate this lockout now. The Chumps coming in and trying to displace a couple of members, but it's the Shot that's going to be looking for another pick and looking for another. They're going to go ahead and back out, though. They said, hey, I've gotten 3 already. Let's go ahead and retreat to the zone, trying to find a 4th. Not going to be able to do so. They are the last person standing. They are going to jump out, but get shut down on the way out. But hey, a fantastic start here for New Mexico as they come to life in Game 3.
Yeah, I mean, like, Long Beach, they were really back into a corner. New Mexico's first push was looking absolutely fantastic, and they were playing the lockout very well, moving up very aggressively into the elbow position. But Long Beach, you know, showing that they're not down and out quite yet. They flip the zone. They're back in the game. Both of these teams have pretty significant penalties, so we're definitely gonna have a real game here. The Flings are moving in. We're making some big plays here, trying to find another. Gonna get picked off. Both teams are trading picks left and right. Like, we're kind of stuck in neutral at the time being, with UNM having a slight advantage. The zone is in their control, of course. They're the ones getting points. They're starting to threaten another lockout by moving up into that elbow position, and it seems to be working for them, with Long Beach completely forfeiting the position, falling back to a more passive hold. This Squeezer continuing to put in work, finding picks left and right, just barely missing the pick on the Flimza, unfortunately. And if specials online for Long Beach, this could be their chance to get back into the zone, which they definitely need, because UNM's penalty is gone.
And that Squeezer did put in work, like you said. I believe that was 4 kills in a row to almost wipe away that entire penalty for New Mexico. But now it is Long Beach back in control with the much smaller penalty and adding points to the board, trying to close this gap as much as possible. But 2 go down. I believe that was actually 3 down on the side of Long Beach. And it is a bloodbath at this stage. The Gal trying to hold things together for Long Beach, get their teammates back in as quickly as possible. They're going to go ahead and hang out on this underside here, see if they can set up a bit of a sneaky attack, but they're just going to leverage the position to launch their killer whale instead, and do find one, find the second. Oh goodness, and it is Long Beach in control yet again, looking for the third, will find it. Oh my goodness, it's Duck that is on a triple kill streak here, looking for more, and Long Beach is holding on to the zone thanks to Duck's heroic efforts.
Yeah, that was a delayed wipe on the side of UNM. I mean, like, Long Beach, Duck found 3, someone else cleared out the last one. So they're in great shape. Their penalty's gone. They're starting to threaten UNM's lead, especially as UNM is 3 down. It's all up to the Squeezer to try to flip the zone in the 11th hour. And if they're getting dived by multiple players, the Flings and the 52, there's not much they could do. UNM's gonna have to dive the zone right here, right now if they want to save their lead, but they just keep going down. Long Beach keeps finding the picks. They're gonna have maybe one more chance to get back in zone. And if them stuck in what seems to be a pretty hard stagger loop, this is gonna be exceedingly difficult. They're running out of time. It's gonna come down to the wire. They're gonna have to dive it. And unfortunately, there just isn't enough time for them. So, UNM, they put in such a valiant effort. They do so much right, but at the end of the day, Long Beach just keeps coming out slightly better. It's unfortunate if you're UNM, but Long Beach, credit to them, they were playing exceedingly well. Even when they were down at the beginning of this game, they did not count themselves out. They retaliated viciously and still managed to take the win, despite all signs looking for it to be a quick win for UNM that time around.
Yeah, you're so correct on that. It was kind of unfortunate. UNM is getting better in each and every one of these games as the set progresses, but they're starting to run out of opportunities. I think this game, though, was really defined by a series of hero plays. Arter on the Squeezer coming up with a couple of different triples at different times, but the triple that mattered was the one that came out of Duck on the 52 gal late in the game to hold on to the zone, prevent that penalty from being reapplied and stacked onto itself. So that really is what helped open things up for Long Beach, and then UNM found themselves in that stagger that they just couldn't dig themselves out of. It seemed like they were trying to put a lot of pressure on the zone, but it's really hard to do when you're just sending one person in at a time to dive the zone, and you're running into 1v3s. Like, you're gonna take someone down, but you go down as well, and Long Beach just kept the numbers there for the last 30 plus seconds to run away with that knockout. So New Mexico just played such a great game for about 3 minutes there and just fell short of it. You know, one key play flipped that entire game's momentum, and now Long Beach is up 3-0 and New Mexico is searching for answers.
Yeah, like, I mean, it really felt like there was a bit of desperation coming in the last minute of that last game, because UNM, they were playing so tight and, like, so together for most of the game, and then towards the end of it, right, as soon as Long Beach started to threaten their lead, like, it becomes, you start asking yourself, like, where is everyone on UNM? Like, I feel like we're only seeing one of them at a time, and that's because, like, they got caught in a bit of a stagger, and they kept diving the zone, either one at a time, or at best, in pairs of 2, which is not ideal. Like, you want to be able to, like, in zones where lockouts are incredibly common, you really want to be able to push the zone as a team, because that's how you get plays, just, like, getting scared and going for those hero plays. I mean, it can work, but it's definitely not ideal, so... Like, UNM, like, they're, as you said, I couldn't agree more. They're playing slightly better in each game, but they're running out of time. Like, Long Beach is up 3-0. They need 2 more games to go. Like, they're past that halfway point. There's still plenty of set left, so what's important for UNM is that they tackle these next few games as if the score's still 0-0. They can't get caught in their heads. Like, in playoffs, I find, like, energy and mental really is the key to victory. Like, you gotta be able to stay, like, just excited and hyped up. The moment you get that feeling of, like, why are we even trying, it's like the set's already over. So UNM, like, they really need to make sure, like, they're keeping the energy up and their mental game steady.
Absolutely. And just also checking with the captain here. It's Duke you know, I'd see DUK and I'm like, Duck! But it is Duke, that 3 is an E. So got clarification from that. So Duke, you did a fantastic job on that 52 gal in that last game. So we'll be sure to have that corrected moving forward. But that doesn't change the heroics that came from you nonetheless.
Mm-hmm. Happens to the best of us. I mean, you know. But anyways, we're moving into game 4, tower control on Manta Maria. Do you have any thoughts on this map mode? It's a personal favorite of mine. I don't know, maybe you have a more interesting opinion on this one.
Oh, I love it. I don't think my team has the best record with it, given, you know, who my teammates are, as you very well know, because it's tower control, but it is also Manta Maria, which is a beautiful tri-slosher map. And that's one thing that I'm sort of anticipating seeing here. You know, blasters, triple splashdown, sloshers are all so pivotal on this map, and I just admittedly don't know if we're gonna get any of that. Probably a blaster from the side of, I believe, New Mexico had brought that out in game 1. So maybe we'll see a couple of those types of weapons, but this is definitely a map mode where a couple of those less traditional compositions can really pay dividends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the common trend in all those weapons you just listed, like buckets and blasters, that I find is the ability to hit over walls. Splashdown's another thing that can hit over walls. And a big thing that stands out to me is Inkjet, which we know Long Beach's ballpoint has that in spades. So they're probably gonna get a lot of value of that. Long Beach is also bringing out their Neo Machine again, another weapon that excels at hitting over ledges. UNM opting for the foil squeezer yet again instead of the more conventional Zuka squeezer. I guess they were liking the way they were playing with it in that last game, but still, it's an unconventional pick, so I'm interested to see how it's going to play out for them. A slight early advantage for UNM. They're going to get a few points for that early pick they got. The Blasters trying to move in the street, taking out the backline, and Cooler online as well. Like, there's nothing stopping them from just running forward, which is what I would say if they weren't quickly taken out by the end zap, I think that was. UNM's going to force to fall back a little bit. They find 2. Both of the teams are stuck in hard and neutral right now, just trading picks left and right. Because they're Cooler, it's like these picks don't really matter.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't think I've ever seen Splatter Color Screen used in Manta Maria, but the more that I'm starting to see this, the more it just makes sense, because everything is so tight spaced in the first place that having that splatter color screen already remove those limited viewing lines of sight just makes it so much more difficult, and it is working well as Ardor is on a tear now. This wall leading the way as well to get the team into street, finding possibly another here. It's going to be their teammate on the blaster, got him, that gets the pick, and this is a 1-2 punch that UNM has desperately needed.
I'm not sure if that 2 down that Ardor got was because of an auto bomb they threw over the corner and that it just blew up off screen we couldn't see. It kind of looks like they both died the screen, which, I mean, like, okay, realistically, it was probably the auto bomb, right? But I really hope it was the screen that killed both of them, because that's a lot funnier.
Well, nonetheless, UNM's push seems to stall here, as nobody is quite by this tower. Ardor, once again, the last one standing, and Long Beach will get control of this tower and add their first points of the game, but New Mexico quick to get back into position here. Couple of picks going on either side, as it looks like somebody's actually diving the tower. It's Rayman, and they're gonna get a pick, but that Inkjet going to save the day, trying to at least stall this push a little bit. But nobody at this tower. This push is over for Long Beach, not able to clear that first checkpoint. But now they're gonna have to once again set up one of those strong defenses that we have come to appreciate from Long Beach Black, to see if they can get the stop and convert it into an offensive push.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, UNM, as you just said, like they're pushing again, threatening that second checkpoint, but unfortunately getting stalled yet again. The second checkpoint on this map mode is really, I find, the hardest part of the map, or the hardest part of the tower path to get through, because that checkpoint is in such a brutal spot. I mean, like you're able to be attacked from literally all sides. It's just really difficult to get past. So like focusing your specials there is really the name of the game on Manta TC. And unfortunately, it seems like these teams, they keep using their specials a little bit before they get to the checkpoints, and then for those checkpoints, they don't have anything planned out. And Incheck's coming out from the side of Long Beach, which I love, like, taking control of mid, but the squeeze is gonna shut that down early. Long Beach is 3 down. UNM is pushing a tower yet again. Like, Long Beach is just struggling to find any momentum this game. This is the momentum, the pace. UNM has been sorely lacking in like the games before this one. So like they're playing well right now. They're just gonna need to keep it up.
Yeah, and Akulo on the tower providing an extra barrier here to make it just that much more difficult to get New Mexico off the tower. Finally able to do so, but the screen is out. Godding getting a pick on their way down, and now it seems like New Mexico finally is slowing down their momentum, but Rayman is still around the tower trying to keep this one going. Finally is forced off, and at the very least forces the Long Beach players to come and address the tower, possibly buying time for their teammates to get back in and set up a defense of their own.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, that cheeky play for Tower, pushing it behind the entire enemy team, they didn't get any points. A 1v1 situation right here. The winner of this fight is going to secure mid for their team. I think this... the 52 is doing their best to try to hold mid as best they can. They're going to get jumps in for their team, so Long Beach is actually going to kind of win that mid fight effectively. They're threatening the first checkpoint again, but again, struggling to get any momentum to get past it. They're 3 down. The last one's stuck in a horrible position. They're probably going to go down here. That's a wipeout. UNM has complete control of the game in the last 10 seconds, and with a lead, it's looking to be their first win of the set, unless Long Beach can make something happen right here. It's not going to play out for them. The cooler on tower gave them that extra bit of defense they needed, and UNM finally taking that first win of the set. They may be it's been a rough set for them up until now, but they're showing that even now, they still got some fight in them.
Again, UNM, every single game is getting better. So this was kind of part of that natural progression that we have been anticipating from them. Every game's gotten closer, they've gotten much better pushes off, and now they are in the position to win. They take their first game, so momentum continues to creep in the Lobos' favor. So take with that, take what you will out of that. But New Mexico's coming. So it's a 3-1 lead for Long Beach right now, but they need to find a way to just get this set done as quickly as possible, because the longer this set goes, the better New Mexico is going to get.
Yeah, I mean, as you were saying, every game they get a little bit better, so that them finally taking a game over Long Beach, that could signify a turning point in the set. Like, that first win, maybe it was a fluke. Maybe Manta TC is just their map mode that they really excel at, right? If they get another win, though, like, that's no accident. It means, like, as you said, like, they're coming, and they're coming fast, right? Like the ball may very well be in Long Beach's court here, and whether or not they're gonna need to, like, make some adjustments, well, I think it's gonna come down to how this next game goes, right? Like, we need to see if that win from UNM, was it really just a fluke, or is it really, like, they figured out Long Beach, they know what they need to do, and they're finally, like, hitting the set, like, in full stride. But speaking of the next game, we're moving right into it. Rainmaker on Humpback Pump Track, a very popular map mode, or I really should just say a very popular map for Rainmaker in particular. You see this one a lot in tournament play. Any thoughts on it, DRF?
Good old Humpback Rainmaker. We've seen some crazy ones here. Humpback Rainmaker delivers time and time again. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that it will deliver once more, with some sort of shenanigans and crazy plays. You know, we've seen already some fantastic picks and momentum swings from both of these teams, and pretty much everyone has delivered on some level at this point. But it seems like that both teams are kind of slowing down with the substitutions as well. So at the very least, they're starting to settle into, hey, this is the roster that we think is going to ride this one out and be able to get us the W. So hey, I'm all for it. You know, it takes a little bit of time to figure out exactly what you want in the set. And I think both teams are a lot more comfortable now. You know, Long Beach already built up that 3-0 lead, so they've already have to be feeling good with what they've done so far. You know, wipe off the sweat, just, you know, Don't let that fourth game bother you at all. Hey, let's just keep going. We've already beaten them 3 times. We've already beaten them on Rainmaker. Let's keep that going. And New Mexico is starting to see, hey, we've got some answers now. So let's continue to ride this wave that we've built up now. But the other question will be, is it going to be too little too late? Was that 3-0 hole, is that early 3-0 hole going to affect them in the long run?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like that first win they got on Manta TC, that tells UNM, if nothing else, it shows them if we come together, right, all the gears are in place, all the cogs are turning and all like the pieces click, we do have the chops necessary to beat these guys, right? Like once you get that first win, that is such the morale boost you need to like turn a set around. So like as you were saying, like we're gonna have to see if UNM rides that wave. Like if they could like get that morale boost they got from their first win, if they could just use that to fuel further victories and maybe even potentially turn the set around, even though the beginning of it was looking very much in favor of Long Beach.
Yeah. So I'm not entirely sure what we are waiting for at this stage, as New Mexico trying to figure out something. Okay, here we go. Possibly discussing with the team, hey, you know, we liked what we saw in that one. Do we need to make adjustments? What are we doing? So it seems like the answer is just run it. Just keep going. This is the team that got us the first win. Just go with it. Go with it until you lose.
I would like to note, by the way, that I'm UNM readied up pretty much immediately, which tells me that like that morale boost they got from that first win, it shows. Like they seem pretty confident right now. Like they wasted no time. Just the literal instant the teams were decided, just boom, 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 boom. We're all ready to go. Like let's hop into the game and just start killing people.
Either that or there's a chance maybe they just forgot that they didn't activate the teams and they were all in weapon select. And they're like, damn, this time is going a real long time. Like, when are we starting the game? I mean, oh, shoot.
I don't know, man. Like, there's something intimidating about seeing your opponent just all readied up immediately with no hesitation, right?
Well, let's dive into game number 5. Yes. So, Rainmaker, Humpback, Pump Track. Let's take a look at these compositions as the Flingza makes a return, but the End Parries are making a debut in this set from Long Beach. I am excited about these composition changes from Long Beach Black.
Yeah, the End Parries feel like a staple on this map mode, to me especially. I mean, last season, Div 1 Grand Finals had one of the most amazing, like, splashdowns, like, ever, right? And I don't know if maybe that influenced some people. I like to think it did, because it was seriously one of my favorite moments in CCA history. But the point is, End Parries, a staple on this map mode. And speaking of staples, I mean, we got Ardor on the Squeezer on UNM, continuing to pull out the foil Squeezer. Like, they seem to be liking it more than the vanilla Squeezer. Personally, I mean, so on a map like Manta and Ramen, there's a lot of tight choke points. I see the value in Scream, but a more wide open map, such as Humpback here, I feel like that Scream might not get the most value in mid. But in that main choke past the first checkpoint, oh my goodness! Okay, if we're talking about picturesque splashdowns on Humpback, you can't get much better than that. Holy, oh my god!
What a splashdown there indeed, as I'm guessing that got 3. I think the 4th might have been just far off enough that someone else took them down. But nonetheless, a statement special usage there to completely shut down UNM's momentum. And now Long Beach with this 50-ish point lead, 47, but a solid lead nonetheless. Of course, it is Humpback Rainmaker. No lead is ever safe. But to be at this stage, at this time in the game, you have to be feeling pretty good right now if you're Long Beach.
I wouldn't be surprised if Duke in particular, the player on End Parries, right? I wouldn't be surprised if they got a pretty big dopamine surge right on that splashdown. Like, that's gotta feel good.
Yeah, because I know I would feel good from that. As this Rainmaker now in a pretty awkward position for both teams. Long Beach not really in a position to try to grab this, but at the same time, New Mexico having to go all the way to no man's land to pick up this Rainmaker, but if they can get a push off from this position, they have a straight line to that checkpoint. But they're gonna have to win a couple of fights here to be able to pick this one up, and this might be reset. No, Yellow's gonna go ahead and grab it with one person down on the side of Long Beach. This will open up the pathway to the checkpoint, but someone's right beneath the ledge. They're able to pick it off. Great teamwork there by New Mexico. The bomb comes in and takes out two, beautifully placed by Filmopolis.
Oh my, UNM, like, it's gotta be frustrating. Every time the pieces seem to be falling into place perfectly, and then something comes out of nowhere and wipes out any momentum they had. If it's not a splashdown, it's some random bomb. They're doing their best to try to get back in, but the Rainmakers look like it's gonna be set. I say, as, I'm not sure who that was. I think it was the shot. They dived the Rainmaker at the last possible second to barely sneak that checkpoint. That's a good start, although it's looking like they're not going to get any follow-up after that. Like, the Rainmaker's likely going to be set. If not, Long Beach will touch it and just get a push going, like, that way. And if Cooler Online, they have a lot of room to do so. The Rainmaker is going to be set, so both these teams are going to fall back into neutral. But if Long Beach being 2 down, and if a lot of specials online, a Bubble and a Zuka coming out, this could be UNM's chance to get a pretty big push going.
Oh, and with this blaster pushed all the way up, this is that exact opportunity that they're looking for. The missiles coming in, raining down from the heavens, able to shut down New Mexico, 4 points shy of taking the lead. And now it is all Long Beach with 1 minute and 20 left to play. Filmopolis gonna go ahead and pick this one up and drop it. Try to put this in an awkward position indeed, as now New Mexico needs to pop this Rainmaker right in the line of sight of the backline. But hey, that's what Arter's here for, to drop that splatter color screen and try to block off the view of the backline right in front of the Rainmaker. But no one's gonna be able to pick this one up. They're gonna try to force the reset, and reset it will.
Yeah, I mean, Long Beach seems to be pretty content of playing this very defensively. Their lead, especially now, is by no means comfortable, but of how aggressive UNM is being, of how proactive they are about just diving the Rainmaker over and over again, it's difficult for Long Beach to find any momentum. I say as they get a pretty good push going. Another big splashdown. They're extending their lead, running it for points. The Zuka, unfortunately, missing 2 of its 3 shots on the Rainmaker, allowing the Rainmaker to push it all the way down to 13 points. That is a very difficult push to beat for UNM. By no means impossible, though. Humpback Rainmaker really is the map mode where anything can happen. But if only 15 seconds left, if UNM dies here, they're not gonna get overtime. So this is effectively their last push. They're gonna need to make it count.
Yeah, I was curious to see if they're gonna go for like a spike ball opportunity here, but no. Where did the place come from? 3 down on the side of Long Beach. They're gonna run it down. They're looking for the lead. Wait, did they get it? I think they fell short. Oh.
I think they died when the score was tied, so it gave it to Long Beach because they got the 13 first. The game's taking a while to load. Even it doesn't know exactly for sure who won. Judd needs some extra time to tally up the scores.
Oh my goodness. Long Beach survives game number 5 to take a commanding 4-1 lead. UNM with an opportunity there at the last second comes up just inches, centimeters short of taking the lead in what is yet again another absolutely bonkers Rainmaker match on Humpback Hump Track.
Yeah, the map mode where anything can happen. I said it, and looky here, like literally, like, oh my, like, I'm at a loss for words. I can't even like describe how ridiculous that ending was, right? Like, just another insanely close game. The score says 4-1. Like, if you just look at the scores, it's easy to be like, oh yeah, like Long Beach is the better of these two teams, right? But it doesn't feel like it. These teams feel so evenly matched. It's just that UNM just keeps coming up just the tiniest bit short in all of these games, and it's really unfortunate for them. But regardless, they're hanging on by a thread. One more loss and they are out of the season. Long Beach will progress on to semifinals. Like, this is their last chance to turn this set around. It's all gonna, like, it's gonna come down to this, right? Like, if yeah, I mean, I'm rambling at this point, man. Like, I don't know. maybe you could describe the state of this set better than I can, because frankly, my brain is running at 1,000,000 miles per hour right now.
The state of the set is that everyone wants a replay of that, but my jaw was too busy being dropped that I didn't get the replay of that. So we will somebody clip that and we will take a look at it later. So because that was one of the closest finishes that I have seen on Rainmaker Humpback, and it's always right in that margin as well, like right in the teens, the low teens, that you get these types of last second plays, clutch stops, and marginal victories that end up being remembered for weeks to come, for seasons to come. And Long Beach Black, they're definitely gonna clip that one themselves and say, hey, maybe they get their division champions, and they could go back and look at it and be like, this was the moment. This was the moment that we clutched up and built up the momentum for the remainder of these playoffs. So, hey, a lot of different feelings, I think, going around from spectator to us here in the commentary booth to both of these teams. Long Beach Black popping off and UNM just saying, gosh darn it, we are so close, and now we have to dig ourselves out of this massive hole that we built, winning 4 in a row to try and move on. But again, Nikki, we say it every time, these teams are just toe-to-toe with each other. The score just doesn't do this set justice at this stage.
Yeah, emotions are definitely high on everyone's end, like us, the casters, the players, obviously, the spectators. And we're going to take those high emotions as we go from Rainmaker Humpback, one of the fastest moving map modes in the game, to Barnacle Clams, one of the slowest moving map modes, I think. It's a map mode where there's a clear progression of like stepping stones positions, moving from mid to the enemy stack, and then eventually all the way up into that critical top left position, which is where you want to score from. Long Beach not making any major changes to their comp, and UNM finally bringing out the vanilla squeezer again. It seems like they're falling back on the tried and true double Zuka, like it's hard to beat, and also pulling out M parries themselves this time. Seems like they were a bit inspired by Duke's big splashdowns last game. Interested to see how that's gonna work out for them. But we're going into the game, both teams rolling out in the mid, trying to find any advantage they can. A very aggressive play from Raymond on the M parries. Unfortunately, gonna get punished for it. Although they're gonna trade the picks right back with Long Beach. So both of these teams kind of stuck in neutral, like not a team able to find a clear-cut advantage. It's I don't know, man. Both of these teams seem to be playing this pretty safely for the most part. They know the stakes are high. UNM especially, one more loss and they are out of the season. So, maybe playing it safe is the right call in their minds? I'm not sure, but it seems like Long Beach is finally beginning to get a bit of an advantage. Threatening the stack. Isaiah's through 2 down and 2 balls online. Their locations are known. This is going to be a big chance for UNM to really push up and rally, get some picks. But they're not. They're playing it so safe. Ugh.
Yeah, both of these teams definitely slowing it down a fair bit. Long Beach just so close to moving on to semifinals, just doesn't want to make any unforced errors, and New Mexico at the same time kind of having that same mentality of, hey, we can't make mistakes. We have to be careful. And it's just resulting in what has so far been a bit of a stalemate, pick for pick on either side. Every time one person goes down on one team, someone going down on the other. And it's really just, I think we're going to start to get a little bit of a build-up here, just waiting for the floodgates to open for one of these teams to just burst with a scoring explosion. And this, this could go either way, but right now it seems like New Mexico is finding their hands on the steering wheel.
Yeah, I mean, Ardor on the squeezer is in a fantastic position right now, up in that top left position, where you want to score from. Gonna give Yellow all the space in the world to move up and dunk the ball in for some easy points. It looks like they're trying to get a bit of a follow-up, but Long Beach is doing a great job keeping them out. Ardor's gonna score 2 clams, nothing major. Finding a pick, though, and if an easy jump to camp as well. They have a lot of momentum here. A Panic Zuka coming out, unfortunately missing the point-blank kill. I mean, if you're Long Beach, you're not too upset over that. Obviously, UNM, they broke the basket and got a bit of a follow-up, but for the most part, they kept them out. Only forfeiting, 26 points? It could have been a lot worse. So, I mean, Long Beach, they really just gotta take that free pity they got, use it as best they can as they try to move back into mid, and potentially get a push going of their own.
Yeah, and they did a fantastic job once again on the defensive end. Now, though, struggling to turn that defense into offense, unlike the last time we saw them on Clam Blitz. They were just so fluid in that defense to offense transition, but haven't been able to find that quite yet. Possibly going to do so now with getting a double. It's Duke once again on that 52 gal, but the Zuka coming out in retaliation, able to find one. It's the Flingza that's going down, and that's absolutely key, as that has been one of the biggest menaces for this New Mexico team.
Yeah, Long Beach finally beginning to pick up the pace a little bit. They have control of UNM's stack, which is kind of like the launching off point that you want to start a push from. But if them going 2 down, the Blaster making some big moves there, moving in. Ardor on the squeeze, they're continuing to put in work, finding another one. That's 3 down for Long Beach. The last one's forced to fall all the way back. And whatever momentum they had there is completely just out the window. UNM showing that, like, even when their backs are completely up against a wall, like, they're still able to play cool, calm, and collected and stop their push dead in their tracks before they even got close to the basket.
Absolutely, and this continues to be a bit of a stalematy game. The Clam economy slightly favoring New Mexico at this stage. The triple splashdown coming out, not going to be able to find any picks there. New Mexico going to find themselves actually losing a member, losing a second. Power Clams being built, 45 seconds to play, running it down. The Power Clam will be scored, and the second will be scored. Lead Long Beach. 40 seconds to play, the jump out coming in. Duke trying to keep this one open. Nobody's up on that glass to try to prevent them from scoring more. Ardor trying to get the pick, not going to be able to do so. Duke finds the second pick yet again. This could be an extended lead here. And no more clams are scored. 22 seconds to play, but the damage is already done. Duke continues to hold this position and is trying to will Long Beach into the semifinals.
A fantastic play by Duke and really all of Long Beach there. Using the cool extremely well, just diving in, getting the ball in, and jumping out immediately like nothing happened. If you're UNM, right, like you're holding out for a hero, you got 20 seconds left to turn this game around in overtime. Otherwise, it's Funzo Dunzos. You're sent packing home for the season. They need to make something happen right now, but UNM's defense is just too impeccable. They're 2 down. They're running out of time. Like, they need to make something happen right now. That's a wipeout, securing the win for Long Beach, and with it, the semifinals spot.
Wow, what a game, what a set. 5-1 Long Beach Black. They take the set and move on to the semifinals. Fantastic play from both of these teams as we saw massive play after massive play. Everybody trying to come up clutch, but alas, it's the Long Beach defense that gets it done here in this set. What? I don't even have any other words on this one, Nikki. Just phenomenal out of both of these teams.
I mean, yeah, like, as we said earlier, like, the score says 5-1. If you hadn't been watching the set, it's easy to think, oh yeah, like, Long Beach just wins that one, right? Like, they're just the better, they're just the better team, like, it happens, right? But, like, you go back and you watch the games, and you think to yourself, man, like, these games were all unbelievably close. I imagine the players feel the same way, right? Like, Long Beach, after every single game, like, they're tugging at their collars, like, brushing the sweat off their foreheads. Like, it must have been an unbelievably stressful set and simultaneously an unbelievably fun one for everyone involved. If you're UNM, of course, it stings to lose. Like, you're out of the season. That's, like, it's just what happened. Like, it's just part of the game, right? It's just the way of the road. But at the end of the day, right, like, they showed up today. They put in an unbelievably good effort. Like, they gave us, the casters, and everyone watching at home quite the show to watch. And, like, frankly, like, you know, they come back better than ever for next season. Like, this team has the potential to go far, I think. And, like, they definitely showed a lot of their potential in this set in particular. But, of course, like, the obligatory congratulations to Long Beach. Y'all's played exceedingly well. For as good as UNM was playing, Long Beach was always just a little bit better, and by being just a little bit better, that's what propelled them to victory, secured them the win, and with it, that first of 4 semifinal spots in Division III playoffs.
Yeah, the score will never do this set justice. Just to be blunt about it, it isn't. It will never do it. You know, this set was so close game after game, with maybe the exception of game 1. But it's, both these teams should, keep their heads held high. New Mexico in particular. I mean, you were a Division 5 champion last season. You came into Division 3 and absolutely knocked it out of the park. It's hard to gauge how division champions do once they jump up, 2-3 divisions, because it's like, how did they fare against competition that should be more at their level now? It's a little bit of a shot in the dark almost, and New Mexico just has delivered all season long. They definitely had one of the trickier paths last season, by being the second place team in their group and then going on to defeat the multiple teams that won their group to advance to the finals, and where they faced against another second place team. And that bracket in of itself was, very, very entertaining from start to finish. So New Mexico continues their story here in just a commendable way. They did such a great job to get into this position in the first place. 4-1, their group wasn't without its challenges. I believe they are either tied or I forget exactly where they are. We'll have to check with our stats team, but they, I believe, have played the most games out of any team this season, with, I believe, 4 of their matches going to a game 7, if I have that correct.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing else, it shows that like they try so unbelievably hard, right? And like even when faced with like insurmountable adversity, like they never like just like they put their best foot forward no matter what the situation is, right? Like if that means playing more games than anyone else in the entire league, then yeah, like we'll do it, right? Like it shows like it shows dedication and the drive for success that I think is what separates the good teams from the great teams.
Absolutely. Well, it does seem like that. I don't think the Play All 9 is happening for this set, which, all good. There's no obligation to do so. So we'll go ahead and start to wrap this one up. So again, fantastic set from both teams. And yeah, I don't know. This one's one for the memory books. That's for sure, Nikki.
Absolutely.
Well, let's go ahead and start to wrap this one up, as Long Beach does move on to the semifinals, score of 5-1. So congrats, New Mexico, on a fantastic season nonetheless. But yeah, Nikki, let's go ahead and send this one to break, as we do have our final matchup up ahead at 9 o'clock Pacific, 12 a.m. Eastern. Yes, it's been a long day.
Late night Splatoon. Some people are into it.
Well, Nikki, go ahead and plug yourself. Where can the people of our chat find you?
Of course. So I don't do a lot of social media. It's not my thing, so don't bother looking for me there. If you do like the sound of my dumb voice, though, and you want to support me, you can go check out my YouTube channel at Aniko Nikki. I upload a lot of collegiate Splatoon VODs. If you like what you see on the CCA stream, you'll probably like the content I make. But otherwise, yeah, I don't have much to plug myself with, so there you go.
Yeah, all good. So as for myself, you can go find me on Twitter at drf_Splatoon and on Twitch at TritonDRF. But per usual, you can go ahead and find me right here on the CCA channel, covering all things collegiate Splatoon. And you'll see me still covering collegiate Splatoon for that next matchup that is coming up in about 20-ish minutes. So stay tuned for that. You are not going to want to miss it. It's been a long day, but we're almost to the end, Nikki.
Of course. I wish you luck in casting that next set. It is exhausting doing so many games back to back to back.
Certainly. Well, thank you all so much, and stay tuned for our final set of the evening.